Welcome back, boys and girls, to another episode of K-Fave Comparisons. My name is Mr. Knowitall, Daniel John Schafer, and I am joined here once again by the kickflip K-Fave master himself, Mr. Wex, breaking the Lawson. Wex, how we living today on this spooky edition?
Oh, living pretty good, pretty well, pretty solid. Got a good show coming up. Got a nice fresh beer cracked open here. You see I'm in the spirit of the Halloween spirit. Got my little luchador mask on.
Ooh, I do. I like that. Speaking of things I like, last week's episode was a banger. The suplex assassin himself, Mr. Alex Kane. If you missed last week, be sure to go check that one out. It was absolutely awesome. Wex, did you get any feedback on last week's episode?
Yeah, I heard a few good things about it. I know Alex liked it, and his tag team partner, Mr. Damian Tangra, liked it from Suplex Science. I got a chance to meet up with them during the show around the little intermission merch table gimmick type deal, you know. Yeah. It was a pretty cool show. Got a little picture with Alex Kane. You probably saw it on the social medias there, and they put on, they got the first match of the night. So, the first match and the last match are always the two most important matches on any wrestling card, and they set it off right. I'll tell you that.
That's awesome. Maybe we will get the other half of Suplex Science on an indie spotlight here sometime soon. That'd be pretty dope. But yeah, let's dive into today's episode.
Today, Junior.
Yeah, it's Impact Bound for Glory 2021 versus WCW's Halloween Havoc 1996. I am hype. 96 is such a good time because it's like 96 is really the beginning of the Attitude Era, except just in WCW. You know what I mean? Like, they were kind of killing. Like 96 was pretty hot for WCW. They were kind of killing it at the time. Honestly, like 96 and maybe the first half of 97 might be the best part of like WCW period. And also, 2021 Impact Bound for Glory. It's one of their bigger shows. We've got a lot going on right now in the current event of pro wrestling. So yeah, Wex, man, when I get us started, man, what do you want to tackle first? I mean, good Lord.
Should we go ahead and tackle like the fucking biggest thing, the elephant in the room?
Yeah, let's just talk about it.
Ring of Honor, dude.
Yeah. So Ring of Honor is they're saying that they're postponing and trying to come up with a different marketing strategy to hopefully come back in spring of next year. Unfortunately, I don't see how that's possible. They seem like they're just trying to protect the name and that's it. And they're selling the tape library and everything else. And I think that's going to go up for grabs between actually a lot of different people. I think that it's not just going to be. I think a lot of people I've seen on the Twitterverse have just pretty much been like, oh, it's Vince is going to try to buy it or Tony Khan's going to try to buy it. Like, guys, ESPN might want to buy it. You know what I mean? Fox Sports might just want to buy it to run it on their as content. It's good content.
Because Sinclair Broadcasting, they're a pretty big reputable company, so people know about the product.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Like they're owned by a television company, So, I don't know. Like I could see, of course, like in my Mark brand, like what do I personally want to happen? I would love for Tony Khan to just buy the entire brand. I would love for him to just stop doing Dark and Dark Elevation and just change. Like Ring of Honor would essentially be the developmental for AEW. I think that would be awesome. I think it'd be tons of content. You could easily start a streaming service that way too. I know Tony's been talking about that as well. So, Ring of Honor and AEW fit like, a hand in a glove. So I think that would work best. But I wouldn't hate to just have Ring of Honor on Peacock either. It is what it is. Wex, how do you feel about it? Which way do you see it going? What would you like to see?
Really, I don't really know what to think right now because it just happened. It was such a sudden thing. And the fact that they say they're going to come back next year, they released all their wrestlers from their contracts and they are available to immediately work anywhere else. So I don't see how you're going to bring the company back if you're going to literally let go of all of your stars. I heard they want to focus on more of a non-contracted wrestler thing when they come back.
Be an indie again.
Man. Yeah, but dude, like I just can't see Ring of Honor going down to that level after what they've been for the wrestling business for the past 20 years.
Yeah, it's
literally
it's
20
crazy.
years. Like every top name, like not every, but almost every big name that we've came to know and love in the past like 10 to 15 years used to be in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, oh yeah, of course. either in either company, in WWE
in both,
or
I'm saying
AEW.
like
Yeah.
even some Impact wrestlers. Shit.
Yeah, straight up.
Like Ring of Honor was the backbone foundation of like modern pro wrestling of what we know it in today in America. They're the ones who fucking them. I guess a little bit of Impact too back then, but Impact was more trying to be WWE. Like Ring of Honor was that hard hitting, that American indie style that we know is like the modern pro wrestling style.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I feel like their influence on the business cannot be understated for sure. I mean, Ring of Honor, it's a sad day for the business, but at the same time too, I mean, look, it's just the evolution of the business. They had a good 20-year run. I mean, as a wrestling fan now you can't, I mean, God, like right now is one of the best times ever to be a wrestling fan. I mean, I don't care. I mean, there's so many options. Like there's so many places to watch really good quality product, and WWE isn't really one of them, but there's just a lot right now. And let's be honest, man, WWE has always kind of been peaks and valleys. And right now we're in a valley. Like WWE is going to get better. And they do have some storylines going that are awesome. Like, I mean, the Bloodline thing is great. I don't care what anybody says. The Hurt Business being back together is great. Like Big E being champ, that's great. Like I don't watch it on a regular basis because it's way too much content and not a whole lot of it is quality. But yeah, man, I mean, it's sad to see Ring of Honor go, which I feel like is probably going to happen. But at the same time, I'm excited for the business. I'm excited to see where some of the Jay Lethal goes. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see what happens with Mike Bennett. I'm excited to see. I'm just excited to see what happens there, man. Calvin Tankman, I feel like is going to, lots of good talent out there now, as if there wasn't before. I mean, it's just a good time to be a wrestling fan, dude. Where do you think that like? Do you think that Ring of Honor ends up just being an indie, or is it just fade out altogether and nobody ever like uses the name, or how do do you think it just dies here?
Honestly, I think they're going to die because I heard that Joe Koff like tried to fight with Sinclair to keep the show, and they're just like, nah, we're done with it. I think they're just done with it. And if it can't be like at least on the same level that it's always been, there's no point to try to run it as a watered down bullshit, whatever version of Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather just be gone altogether and then something like that happen. But yeah, that's my prediction. Yeah. My prediction is releasing all their major fucking stars, like literally everybody from all their contracts. I don't see them coming back, period. I feel this is a way to try to like make everybody feel like it's okay, but everyone knows what's going on. This is the fucking end. It's sad. Yeah. And it also could be the end. Let me go ahead and hit a good little segue of Charlotte here in WWE. If you hear what's been going on with her, she's been wilding out here. Wow.
Yeah, she's not. She's definitely not happy with her position. She's not happy with the company. It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to see for sure. I mean, because dude, how much money does Vince McMahon have invested in Charlotte Flair? You know what I mean? And I mean, the problem is like if she goes to AEW, which is what everybody thinks. I mean, who would she be? She couldn't be Charlotte Flair. Who would she be?
Flair. She'd be Ashley Flair. That's exactly who she would be. What's Ashley Flair doing in the Dynamite Zone?
Yeah, but they would have to spell it like her actual last name.
No, they don't own Flair. Ric Flair owns Flair. That's why he couldn't be Cody Rhodes, but he could just be Cody, and she could be Brandy Rhodes. They don't own the last name Rhodes. They don't own the last name Flair.
Oh, I see.
Because they didn't own Brandy Rhodes, and they don't own Ashley Flair. They own Charlotte Flair.
I thought you'd have to use it like your actual name. Although that might be cool too.
But her real name is Ashley Flair. It's just spelled different.
It's Flair. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of meat on the bone there too. I mean, there's tons of stuff going on, man. Whew. But let's get into the show here. Let's roll it on over. Any other current news that we need to touch on before we get mowing into this?
I mean, nothing that serious. We're just good AEW wrestling, good stuff going on there. I mean, and we'll that's about it.
We're gonna be touching on AEW here shortly as well. We'll do our predictions towards the end
a little bit later.
But let's get in our Wayback Machine then. Let's go back to 1996. We're gonna do all of Halloween Havoc here. And we got an opening package with Hollywood Hogan and Macho Man. And I thought the actual package was pretty good. I thought it fit the time really well. I thought for 1996, it was pretty well done. We got Tony and Dusty and Bobby all on the call, which that's a great commentary team. You can't argue with those three guys. And the opening match here, Dude, it's an absolute banger. It's Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio Jr. for the WCW Cruiserweight Championships. Man, God, great way to start off the show. The mat work was just so clean and so precise. There's a lot of times where we'll talk about matches and we're like, well, it wasn't really a mat classic or anything. But it was a good match. Like, no, this was an absolute clinic. It was a mat classic for sure. This match would be a banger today. 25 years later, and that alone pretty much says enough. I mean, everybody talks about the Eddie and Ray match, which I think happened the following year at Halloween Havoc in '97.
That's correct. That's correct.
Which is great, but dude, I mean, this is a six-pack all day. It's a six-pack all the way around. I mean, this is like a legendary match in my opinion. I'd put this top 50 matches ever of all time. Yeah, I mean, dude, 6 beers. This is hands down my match of the week, like bar none. Yeah, Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio Jr. Sorry to blow our load right there, like we're pre-pubescent boys, but my match of the night for either show is Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio Jr. here. I loved it. What do you think about it?
Yeah, dude, it was a goddamn classic match, and I actually pulled a little Rey Mysterio. If you just noticed, I changed mask mid-match, mid-podcast, but I did still put on the Rey Mysterio. But like, the story was great in this match. Everything, like, dude. Everything was good in here. Like, and the innovation, like you said, for 1996, this could have been a match in 2021 and been just as highly rated. How, like, Meltzer probably would give this a 6-star match if it was Kenny Omega and somebody else, honestly.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
Just because, he's a little bit more biased for the old Omega. But, dude, it was a fucking killer match. The pacing, it got a little slow at points and almost drug on for a second. But right when I thought it was starting to drag, they start picking it back up. It's like every time I thought like, okay, you guys know what the fuck you're doing out there. And it was overall like pretty much a perfect match. Like the top rope gut wrench power bomb was fucking sick. And just like you said, they compare that Eddie Guerrero match, and like I'm an Eddie Guerrero fucking mark over here. But this literally is up there on the same level with that match, like hands down. It's a little bit different style because of the Eddie Guerrero. That was pretty much a, more of a high pace the whole time. And this was a more of a Dean Malenko slowed it down and got to work a lot of more mat based stuff during this match. And just, they put everything together, wrapped it up in a nice little package and cracked open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beers and butt chugged them all. Well, could butt chug them if you want.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of butt chugging, there is a Jarrett promo in the back after the match. It's bad. It's not good at all. He's just not good at promos. I love his podcast, by the way. Think he's hilarious, but his promos were always trash, to be honest with you. Flair came in and saved it, though. Flair did a great job, nailed the promo. It sent it home well. Then the next match on the card here is DDP versus Eddie Guerrero. It's the battle for the ring. And it's still
the Dynamite Diamond Ring, right?
Yeah, which is kind of hilarious. It's not actually the Dynamite Diamond Ring. What is it called?
It's the Battle Bowl ring.
Battle Bowl ring. That's right. That's all right.
And he's the Lord of the Ring.
Yeah, the Lord of the Ring. I love it. I mean, it's still pretty early in Dallas's career here, but at least he's kind of keeping up, and Eddie is Eddie, and it's definitely carrying the match. I really kind of hate the injured heel referee angle with Nick Patrick in this match specifically, because it's like neither one of these guys are NWO guys, so it didn't really make any sense. And it was just like Nick Patrick kind of catering to the heel, and that kind of hurt the match quite a bit. But the in-ring work was really, really good. I mean, it's got to be really hard to follow that Cruiserweight Championship match, but it definitely held its own. And that's I mean, it wasn't quite as good as the opener, but it's definitely saying something. I mean, I gave it 4.25 beers. I really, really enjoyed it. What do you think about DDP versus Eddie Guerrero here?
I mean, dude, this was the battle of the mullets right here. These were two very nice mullets, and only one other mullet surpasses these two mullets on the show. And we'll get to that mullet a little bit later. But, man, this was a sick-ass mullet battle. Solid shit. Like, I mean, it went fast at times, but they never – I don't think the pace ever really slowed down too much to the point that it was in that previous match. Yet, I don't know. I guess that's maybe why, I don't know. They just changed the style up a little bit and still were able to put on a really good match that almost matched up with that Cruiserweight match. Like you said, I didn't go quite as high. I went 4 beers on it. I know you went almost 5 beer, went to 4.75. I went 4 beers.
I went 4.25. It was just 4 1/4.
Oh, so we're pretty close. Other than, okay, I went 4 beers. I thought you said 4.7. No, 4.25. Yeah, and I love on commentary. He said nosedive.
Yeah.
Like Shivani, like literally repeat it like 6 times. I popped for that. Shivani and the Brain, dude. The commentary on this show was superb. Like
it was really good.
Like
it was really good.
The combination of them three, like it was good on the call, and they were saying funny shit, hilarious. Like Dusty is such a good foil for the Brain, and like he's the good. It's like Brain and Shivani are the foil for each other, and Dusty's like the mediator that's like, oh, well, no, you know that the reason he does that here, Daddy, because, he drew a line in the sand a long time ago. Good shit there. I mean, he powered through, and Eddie Guerrero actually got hurt during this matchup, and he'd been sick for like 2 or 3 days leading into this. Yeah. Because Diamond Dallas Page literally happened to post an Instagram post about this match today, because today was the anniversary of the day it took place.
Wow.
I guess of the actual pay-per-view. So that's crazy. We're recording on the anniversary of the pay-per-view. And he said Eddie was sick and he hurt his knee and just still pushed through the match and still put on a really solid performance.
Yes, he did. It was a great match. Absolutely.
And let's keep it I'm saying, I really like the dead weight, like dead body diamond cutter that they executed. Because usually people jump into it or do some crazy shit. And Eddie just like went, it was nice. Nice little touch.
Just laid into it. Yeah.
Keep it rolling.
Good selling. Let's keep it rolling. Yeah, there's a pretty dope Macho Man promo in the back with Mike Tenay too. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Gotta love Macho. And man, the ad for WCWWrestling.com felt so nostalgic and so amazing. Like, I don't know about you, dude, but like I was like 13, 14. So I was like right in the middle of that. Like I had an AIM, and like everybody had AOL, and like those websites were all like Angel Fire and like looked just like that. It was so similar. I mean,
I remember a little bit. It was probably a couple years after this when I first started really dabbling onto like the Angel Fire, GeoCities, Dragon Ball Z websites and stuff. But I definitely remember this time of the internet. But imagine calling in and going online to just listen to the pay-per-view.
Yes,
like, dude. Imagine doing that.
Simulcast. Yeah. The audio.
I guess I used to do that, but I would have on cable. You just go to the channel that scrambled for the pay-per-view, but you could always hear the audio.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Dude, I mean, I think I was. Yeah. Oh, dude, all the time. I would try to do that as much as I could. I would actually open like the web browser or whatever and play like the audio, because I couldn't get the pay-per-views most of the time. So I would try to at least keep up. But then like it got to a point where the commentary just got so bad that it's like you have no idea what's going on. Like you literally
they're just talking about the NWO the whole time, and you don't know what the fuck's going on in the match. But when it showed Jericho like on the computer with that guy, it reminded me of like the classic like AOL Bret Hart and like Shawn Michaels shit, where it's just their backstage.
That's exactly what they were doing.
Not knowing what the fuck to do on the computer. They have like some little tech guy helping Chris Jericho out.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And tell me that tech guy did not look like a young Tony Khan too. Like it straight up did look like Tony Khan. Dean Malenko with a straight cold promo naturally. Then Macho Man had like a Slim Jim monster truck giveaway thing, which was super funny and super carny all at the same time. Like,
dude, yeah, I really love that, because later they like show the one in the crowd and they're like, oh, there's that monster truck that he gave away. And he goes, oh no, actually it was the street legal one. You can't be driving that in the street. And he's like, yeah, I drive trucks like that. And I was just,
oh my goodness, what is happening? Ted DiBiase then like cut a promo for the Giant essentially in the crowd, which was kind of weird. It was weird that like the NWO's locker room was like in the arena, like. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, we know that there's not like a room back there. That's just like where you go get pretzels and shit. Like you can't like I don't know. It just felt weird to me. But yeah, the next match here is the Giant versus Jeff Jarrett. I'm going to go ahead and let you take the lead on this one. What'd you think about
it? Was not very good. It was pretty much just Jeff Jarrett doing his little bullshit shtick, a bunch of backbreakers, some more referee interference bullshit that you didn't even need. It was very slow paced. And I mean, what do you expect from the Giant? It's not going to be like a crazy fast match. And yeah, just not a fan of this match at all. And just, yeah, it sucked. I gave it a beer.
Yeah.
Because basically what was going on is he was subbing in for Ric Flair because Ric Flair was hurt. And it was just lame. And it's like when he was wearing the wackest gear and he was like a halfway horseman, but not really a horseman. And it's just the Giant and Jeff Jarrett. They're not doing. It's just. It is what it is. You don't even have to watch it. Just you heard what I said.
It's a bad substitute match. I'm pretty much in the same boat. I gave it half a beer. It just wasn't. It wasn't good at all. I mean, the only reason why I gave it half a beer is because I feel like Flair worked his ass off and he wasn't even in the match. I felt like he did the best job out of anybody.
I agree. The crowd, Flair going up and down the aisle, fucking like. Yeah, him engaged with the crowd was more interesting than the actual match itself. And like the Nick Patrick like stuff just was bullshit. The like low blow in front of his face and the low like it.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. So that kind of lowered the pace and kind of lowered the spirits of everybody, I think, a little bit. Although the crowd was kind of hot because it's NWO and this is like brand new still. But anyway, there's a nice Ted DiBiase promo on Jericho on like behalf of Six, and then for some reason they let Sean Waltman speak, and that was a terrible idea. He was just not very good that day.
He was probably high as fuck.
Maybe. But the match here is Six versus Chris Jericho. Jericho is doing his absolute best cheesy baby face with the "come on, baby," and like, oh god. I will say too, like that raging headlock that Sean Waltman does, like, or Six does, where he gets him in the headlock and he just jumps up and down. It's like, that's like, I hate that one of the most. That's what I hate more than most things. Like, it really bothers me.
We're gonna go ahead and put that. We have a list here in kayfabe comparisons of our least favorite wrestling moves.
Yes,
and I think that's gonna go right there.
The number one
list.
thing is like the standing. Like when someone's standing up and Jon Moxley tries to give him an elbow drop off the top rope. That's number one. Ironically, number two is that stupid ass like reverse slingshot clothesline that he used to do that he stopped doing now. Thank God. I would say this is number three. I'd say the raging headlock is number three.
When number four is always going to be the catapult.
I don't mind the catapult. I don't mind the catapult.
And poorly executed catapults. How about that? Because there's a lot of people who do them real shitty.
Yeah. I saw at an indie show one time this dude do a catapult, and like they were talking about, this is when I was still wrestling, and it was just some random thing, and they wanted it to get over so bad, and they thought it was like a really clever idea, and they're like, watch the catapult spot, and so they go to do the catapult, and then the guy he comes up and just like falls flat, like so he just stands up and then falls flat, like he doesn't get thrown, and he was like, yeah, it's like perpetual motion, it's like that's how it actually would be. I was like, no. Actually, you would just hold their legs and lay down, and they wouldn't. There's no way your body would like your body doesn't pick them up. Like that's not the way that works.
Exactly, it doesn't work. It's the dumbest move, and some people can execute it right, but most people can't. And when you can't execute it, it just looks like shit. We'll get into that later on the show too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, either way, after the raging headlock spot, which is really ridiculous, the dudes beat the hell out of each other, and the match was actually really, really good. Tony and Dusty were hilarious on commentary. I mean, dude, at one point, Six whips Jericho into the safety rail, and he's like, Dusty's like, why do they call that a safety rail? It didn't keep him safe. Tony's like, well, Dusty, it broke his back. It broke his back in two. I just see it right there.
And broke his back.
and then dude, Tony,
Dusty,
and Tony was like, it's to keep the fans safe. And then Dusty didn't see me. He's like, I know that's right, Daddy. I know that's right. And I was like, what just happened? Like, what did I just witness?
I love they do that shit because like sometimes when Tony and Brain start like not getting, he's like Dusty will be the one who explains it and it sort of makes sense. I guess it does in his own head, and then Tony's the one who's trying to make it make sense to Dusty. Yeah, it's such good fucking shit on commentary.
Oh, holy it's so fuck. Good. It's so good. I'm super hyped.
The match was really good. Like everything was very crisp and clean with them two. Like their chemistry was fantastic. And the only thing that took me out was like just the NWO bullshit. Mm-hmm. If it just would have been more like a clean match, it could have been way sicker. But
yeah,
what was your beer rating?
I gave it 3 3/4 because it was a little bit above average to me. I thought it was like. I thought this was one of the only matches where the Nick Patrick shit made sense. You know what I mean? Like to me, at least, like I didn't necessarily like it, but it's like this is what the NWO does. Of course, he gets the win, even though Jericho still looks pretty good after. It's like it didn't really make. I mean, at the end of the night, it doesn't really make Jericho look bad, and it doesn't really make. You know what I mean? Like I feel like actually gives Six more heat, so that's a win, right? Like
it was just I don't know. It worked, I guess, to an extent, but I don't know. I just didn't like it because he was like, I have a fucked up neck, but then like, oh no, Six can't continue. But I like it. It's
Yeah.
But I get what they're doing, but it's just, I guess that's like the fan in me just like actually getting pissed off. Like, fuck you, Nick Patrick. I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a natural reaction. I feel like most people feel that way.
I mean, that fucking
what was your overall bill on it?
I went 3 beers because it could have been like I said, that just took me out of it just a little bit. But dude, the work rate, the execution, like that drop kick crossbody counter, that was sick. Like,
yeah, that was
they
good.
did a lot of really sick shit at, like, dude, for 1996, like WCW was the innovator in offensive wrestling.
Oh, 100%. I don't think that's debatable at all. I think that the cruiserweights, I mean, I literally think the cruiserweights and through 96 to 98 are like the beginning of modern wrestling today.
It's the X division, pre-X division.
I mean, it's the pre-X division, but then like it just became Ring of Honor, and then it just became everybody. I mean, you know, when guys like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and like those guys are your world champions, it's like it's there. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened. So, and it's awesome. The match was good. Let's keep it rolling here though. There's a Lex Luger promo in the back, which like doesn't get any worse to go from that to that. Like,
dude.
God, like Lex Luger.
Has he not? Did he not learn throughout his career? He should have just always had a manager and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he was most successful when he did have a manager too. It's just, or a tag team partner, but I'm sure we'll touch on that later. The next match here is Arn Anderson versus Lex Luger. It's much more of the old school style. This one felt a lot more like it could have been a 1992 match or a 1986 match as opposed to a 1996 match. I hated that they looked like a tag team too. They wore the exact same gear with the black boots and the black tights and all that. The crowd was hot for it for sure though. And Luger had incredibly feathered hair. The match was fine. Not a lot of investment. It felt like a filler match. Didn't seem like there were any stakes or any like severe personal issue. I mean, the work was good, and that for that style, it's just like no one cared, man. Even still, I gave it 2 beers, like maybe 2 1/4 at most. Arn Anderson, I mean, the match wasn't bad. It just there was just no reason to have it. It felt like a WCW Saturday night match or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I just was not a really big fan of this, and maybe it's just because it's Lex Luger. I've never been a fan of Lex Luger, even though I had a goldfish named Lex when I was a kid. Lex Luger, every time he wrestles, I don't know, every show we watch with him, he's just so robotic and like stiff, the way he moves. And like, I know you said this is like more like a 1992, 1985 match, but I don't think they had very good chemistry, and it was all Lex Luger's fault. Every good thing about this match was all Arn Anderson.
Oh, that's no debate. Yeah, no debate on that.
Like, I don't know, Lex, like, he was big, but that's about it. He was bad in the ring, bad on the mic. Like, I don't understand how he stayed in wrestling for so long, just because he was big and buff and shit. And I guess he had the look. But I love seeing that spine to the pine, that classic Arn Anderson, that 96, where he's still, he's not completely he's not completely dadded out. He's still like hossed out. Like he's still pretty solid here.
Yeah.
He's looking nice and beefy. I didn't go quite as high as you. I went 1.5 beers, and it was literally only for Arn Anderson. And this match contained the worst catapult I've ever seen in my life. It was so slow and so late. Like, you're supposed to kind of like one fluid movement. It was like, it was real bad. Like, Lex just, that's a move that you just should not participate in. You don't have the fucking coordination, like, I've seen random guys on the indies working a few years that are smoother than Lex Luger, what was he at this point in his career, goddammit? How old was he?
Well, he's at least 10 years in at this point. He's at least 10 years.
He just
maybe even 12.
Yes, he had the look, but yeah.
Yeah, he had the look for sure. 1.5 years. That's fair. It did take the ending took forever too. Like Jarrett and Flair came out to check on Arn, and it was just, I don't know. It was a lot. I guess it was a clean finish.
There's a lot of endings of people coming and just checking on people.
So yeah, we'll get to that as well. The next match on the card here is unfortunate. It's the Faces of Fear versus Steve Mcmichael and Chris Benoit, and not even Benoit could save this. The match was way overbooked. Way too many people at ringside. There's just like literally a ton of people at ringside, almost to the point where it's like a lumberjack match. No one on earth cared about this match or the outcome of it. I can't give it a dud because I feel like Benoit did work his ass off, and him and the Barbarian specifically had some pretty decent exchanges. But it was forever long. I mean, forever long and overbooked and like just not. I can't even give it a full beer. I gave it 3/4 of a beer, and that's the best I can give it. Where are you at on Faces of Fear versus this weird version of the Horseman?
Man, every time I watch Mongo Mcmichael wrestle, I just laugh. He's the funniest fucking wrestler ever. Like his movements, his fucking like just everything he does, his body language, just he's a fucking funny wrestler. And because he's so green at this point in here with like veterans who are just like
he stayed green, bro. He stayed green.
I know, but it just, dude. And Benoit did his damnedest to try to carry this match. He did his best.
Oh yeah, he tried.
And the overall highlight of this match, beyond anything about it, without a shadow of a doubt, is Meng's mullet. Meng's mullet at this point, dude, was killing everything. Meng's mullet is what gave this match a full beer rating for me. If Meng didn't have that mullet, it would have been like a half a beer. But that mullet just bumped it up a little bit for me because I at least got to see something beautiful amidst all the chaos.
Something beautiful indeed. I mean, you and I are both big fans of the mullet. We're going to get to mullet moment of the night for sure as soon as we can. But let's just keep it rolling here. We got another short DiBiase promo, and then here come the Outsiders. It's the Outsiders versus Harlem Heat for the WCW Tag Team Championships. Wex, what'd you think about this one, man?
Dude, I mean, it started off a little bit slow, but the crowd was so into it. Like, literally from the time that the Outsiders walked out, the crowd was fucking hot. And even though they were like the heels, the whole NWO thing, like, they were so goddamn over. It didn't matter what they did in this match. And, like, it wasn't a match like a fucking barn burner, like a Matt Classic or anything. But, dude, they kept the crowd engaged the entire match. Yeah. And it was right there in the middle for me. I went about 3 beers on this one.
Yeah, I went slightly higher. I went 3 1/4, but I mean, honestly, for let's be honest, man. I mean, Kevin Nash, I'm a big fan of his mic work. He's always been a really good promo, and he's always been pretty like funny. And he's just a cool guy, but like he's never really been that great in the ring. He's had some really great matches, but with guys that are like really great, like Brett or Sean or Scott even. But like, man. Scott Hall and Booker T, the exchanges that those two guys had were like highlights of the match for sure. I mean, it was like, really good. Like, I really wish
those are the two fucking star workers of this match.
And I mean, like, I really wish that we would have gotten like a long, maybe like a TV title run between the two of them, or like a US title run. But I think like a really long, at least 5-6 matches out of those guys, I feel like would have been so good. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it, but. Man, like I just the potential there is what kind of unlocked it. Now, Stevie Ray, Kevin Nash is Kevin Nash. Although I do feel like Kevin Nash worked as best as he could. He's definitely in prime shape at this point in his career. I mean, it's a solid tag match. It felt weird that the baby faces were essentially the ones cheating and pouring on the heat, but it worked because the business was just weird at the time. I wouldn't say it's really one for the history books, but it's pretty solid. Yeah. So I mean, I gave it 3 1/4.
3 1/4. So did you basically just say that Kevin Nash and Stevie Ray are the Marty Jannettis?
Oh, no. Actually, I would say that out of the Outsiders, unfortunately, even though I prefer Scott Hall, I think he was definitely the Marty Jannetty. If you look at like the runs,
look at his career and
but as far as Stevie Ray, yes, 1,000%. There's no debate. Like Stevie Ray is definitely the Marty Jannetty. Like,
because his brother became the multi-time world champion. Yes. He didn't do shit.
Yes, man. Became a king. He even became a king. I mean, but you know what? Honestly, Stevie Ray was never bad. I mean, neither was Marty Jannetty, to be fair. So. Match wasn't terrible, right there in the middle.
Not bad in the ring. Maybe bad as a human outside the ring.
Oh, same. Well, Scott Hall, same. Still one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, though. I mean, definitely a different style, definitely a slower style. But I still, to this day, like, and even watching this match is one of my notes. I don't think that anybody in professional wrestling history has a better punch than Scott Hall. Like, never that has ever had a better punch than Scott Hall, in my opinion. World's
Some
best
good
punch.
ones.
What do you think, Wex? If you had to pick one right off the top of your head, world's best punch.
Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler. That's solid.
He has
damn.
one of the best punches.
No, that's solid. That was
And
a deep cut.
And he's
you're
also
absolutely
done
right.
a terrible thing. He's also been a terrible human
Let's
outside of
just
the
keep
ring.
it going. We're not.
He has a hell of a punch.
I don't really want to talk about terrible humans anymore on the show. Okay. Anyway, next up it's Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Poor Randy, man. God, this match was bad. The highlight was definitely Savage like snatching his wig. It's just, I mean, and it's just a schmaz. I literally wrote like schmaz with like 8 O's. It's just overbooked bullshit, man. The finish was terrible, and then Piper debuts, and then he and Hogan just ramble nonsense for like 7 or 8 solid minutes. And then the show just ends. The show just ends.
I turned it off because I was like, all right, this is not like what are we doing here? I turned it off before it ended.
I love you, Randy, but you were past your prime at this point. The only other really good solid bell-to-bell matches that you had in WCW were against Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Diamond Dallas Page. But everything else you pretty much did in WCW was not good. RIP, love you to death. You were my favorite wrestler before I was a Hulkamaniac. I loved you, but I gave this match an absolute dud. I think it's the only time I've ever had to do that for Randy Savage, but the match was just that bad. Absolute dud to me. Big old goose egg. Where are you at on it?
I gave it just a beer. I didn't give it a fucking whole goose egg just because it was funny. Like, it was fucking hilarious. Like, when he first came out with the hairpiece, like, yeah, I was confused. Okay. Like, when I first looked up shit for this fucking pay-per-view, I was like, what the fuck is going on with Hogan here? But turns out somehow from like the Three Ninjas movie that he did, he still had the hairpiece. So he decided to wear it to the ring and made it a part of the fucking thing.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh shit, that makes sense. I was like, he did have more hair in Three Ninjas. And I didn't know, like, because when I was a kid, you know, like I saw it, but I didn't know like I didn't know what time it was, you know, recorded. So I was like, oh, Hogan has hair in this movie. Oh shit. But now it all makes sense. But dude, when Savage put the wig on himself and the sunglasses, and just like Dusty was saying on commentary, like, how the fuck did his sunglasses stay on for so long?
Yeah,
he made a lot of shit, and his sunglasses just stayed the fuck on there. I was like, all right.
So
he's pulling an Orange Cassidy here, just like keeping them on the whole time.
They literally not spray paint. They hairspray the inside of those like old Oakleys, and they would just stick them to your face. So it's literally just hairspray on your face. But I know that's how they did it.
Jeez, well, that's fucking ridiculous.
Dude,
well, yeah.
I mean, when I was like, every time I talk about like me wrestling, I always feel weird about it. And most of the time I actually edit it out because I was so bad. I was a terrible wrestler. I don't ever want it to sound like I was good or anything like that. But what I do want to say is that like I started wrestling at like the very early 2000s. So like there were tons of 90s wrestlers that didn't get signed with the WWE that were like down in the lurches. And I know for a fact that Buff Bagwell would like hairspray the inside of his Oakley, like the stems or whatever, and push them on his face and just hold them there. And like that's why they would stick on and like not fall off when he did his entrance or whatever, so he wouldn't look stupid. Like these are it's ridiculous, but that's how it works.
That's fucking outrageously ridiculous. And dude, like the schmaz, like you said, literally half of the match was Macho Man trying to get Hulk Hogan and him just like. You know, it was literally like watching terrible. It was like watching a random match at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
Like
yes,
literally,
exactly.
That's what it was like. Straight up fucking carny match. Yeah, trash. Like I said, I gave it a beer because it was funny because I laughed. But like for a wrestling match, it was garbage. Straight the fuck up.
Yeah, straight up. And I wish that I could say that the next show is incredible. But it's like Katy Perry, and it's hot and it's cold. So like there's some good stuff and there's some really bad stuff. So let's just jump right into it here.
I wonder how our opinions will differ on this show because it was a little good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Let's jump right into it though. It is Impact Bound for Glory 2021. I know that like us on this show have been trying to include Impact a lot more. And me and Wex were talking about this, just texting about it a couple days ago, but it's kind of crazy that TNA or Impact is like the second longest professional wrestling company in the United States behind WWE. Like that's kind of crazy to think about. It's been, over 20 years or almost 20 years. I think we're at 19 years right now, but
yeah, they just beat out Ring of Honor. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. It's just insane. I mean, And here we are, though. I mean, let's get right into it. We got an amazing opening package on Josh Alexander. I kind of liked how personal it was. It was a little reality TV heavy with the way it was shot, and that was kind of meh. But I liked what they're trying to do. It's not a stereotypical video production package that you would get from like a WWE thing or even an AEW thing. So I appreciate that it was different and it felt a little more realistic.
You would think Eric Bischoff is still working there with that reality based.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they could use him, honestly, but we'll get to it. The opening match here, though, is the Inspiration versus Decay. Okay, I liked the Iconics quite a bit. I was always a big proponent of theirs, and I still am. I don't know. Okay, how do I say this? Okay, so the women's knockout division in TNA has not been very good for the past few years. I mean, Deanna's great. She's great, but they keep just bringing people in to work with her. The people that they have there are not very good. The Knockouts tag team championships, like there's not even any real tag teams to there's not a lot of talent there, unfortunately, right now. And so you bring in the Inspiration, and I understand why, but they've been out of the ring for a while. I mean, even before they got released, they weren't really wrestling or even together. And they're going against Decay. And listen, like I've seen a lot of matches with these ladies, and I don't like any of them. I don't like Decay. I don't think that they're good. Their styles don't complement each other. I don't like their gimmick. I don't think that they're good in the ring. I don't like it. It's just not for me. And the Inspiration I like, but dude, the ring rust was thick. I mean, it was just thick. The timing was off. I mean, they haven't really been outside of a much larger WWE ring since they were like barely trained. So, I mean, the match just wasn't very good, man. I mean, I like the Inspiration for sure. I liked the debut, although the song was way too long. I was excited for the match. Maybe I had unrealistic expectations for the match. But they get the straps right away too, and that's like I think that just kind of proves that the women's division is really weak, especially because I can see why on paper it's like you want to put the Inspiration over. You know, you're bringing them in, they're going to look great, they're going to be the new tag champions. But really, I feel like when they don't perform well in the match, and then you still make them the tag champions, it just really devalues the division. So I was a beer on this, and that's the most I could give it. Where are you at on it?
I was a little bit more generous, not too much more generous though. I gave it 1.25 beers, a beer and a quarter.
Okay.
And like you said, and the thing is, you were talking about the ring rust and the kind of not fluidness, kind of botchiness almost. And it wasn't just from the Inspiration. Like Havoc kept
not at all.
tripping
No,
all over
trash,
the fucking place.
Oh, that's trash.
I've seen her work, I don't know how many matches, like even live in like at least 5 or 6 live matches in the past few months. And that was one of her worst matches.
Yeah.
Like straight the fuck up. Like, and
yeah.
She's worked way better. I don't know if it's because she didn't have any chemistry with them or didn't know. And like,
yeah,
I don't think she fits the Decay. Like she does not fit that whole vibe. I don't like their gimmick. I think they're fucking whack, but people love them in Impact. Like every time we go there, Crazy Steve gets the biggest fucking reaction. And I'm just like,
I don't
what
get it either.
Fuck? Like that's the lamest name. Crazy Steve. That's the lamest bullshit I've ever heard. He's great in the ring, but gimmick's lame, the name's lame. It's just fucking bullshit.
He's pretty good. I wouldn't say great, but he's pretty good.
He's better than me.
That's true. I mean, as are 99.9% of these wrestlers that we're covering here. But yeah, let's not spend too much time on the negative. Let's keep it going here. We got D'Lo and Stryker kind of running down the card. The crowd sucks, by the way. There's like zero hype. They're the worst part of the show.
The Nashville crowd was better than this Vegas crowd, I'll tell you.
It 100% should have just done it in Nashville. Deonna Purrazzo had a great promo in the back. Really well done. She is single-handedly carrying that division for the most part. The package for the X Division Championship match was very good. Although Macklin is gutter trash, but hopefully they can carry him. That's what I wrote here. And then the match here is El Phantasmo or ELP versus Trey Miguel versus Steve Macklin. Yeah, man. God, you know what? I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. What do you think about this X Division 3-way?
Honestly, when I saw Steve Macklin, I was kind of like bummed out that he was going to be in it. But I don't think he really did as bad as he normally does. And there was actually some pretty cool, innovative shit in there. And I think if it would have been with anybody else, it probably wouldn't have been as good. But I think, dude, that was fucking sick. Trey Miguel went up for the springboard cutter, and while he was upside down, Macklin speared him through the ropes, and Macklin actually did a few little flippity doodles off the over the top rope himself. But I love El Phantasmo. Like, I love the shtick. I love the nipple twisting. I love all the comedy shit. But then he gets serious again and still gives some hard-hitting moves. And Trey Miguel, I mean, he's fucking amazing.
He's a star.
Should have been, like MSK. They're in WWE now, but honestly, like, he might be the breakout guy from the group, honestly, like the guy who should have been the single star. So it kind of makes sense for him to stay. And he was doing so much sick shit. This was a classic X Division match, and I really liked it. I don't know. You seem like your tone of voice seemed like you were kind of bummed out about it because of Steve Macklin, but I think he worked well with these two dudes. Like, the Super Rana onto Macklin, that was sick. The Buzzsaw kick, the Brainbuster Meteora, like, nice combo. Like, I'm saying like a lot because this was just like a good match. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4.75 beers, almost a fiver, almost a whole 5-pack. But it just, I don't know what. I guess the crowd not being as hype as I personally was for it might have took it out a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I'm not that far behind you. I will generously say that Macklin didn't ruin the match. He mostly just took a bunch of moves and sold, which is fine. His offense is just very generic. Like, granted, yes, I thought that spear spot was cool, but at the same time, like, he just delivered a spear. You know what I mean? Like, Miguel made that look amazing.
Miguel is what made it. Like I said,
no, of course,
made it sick.
Yeah. I just think that he's like the most white bread wrestler, like, of all time. Like, he just feels so generic. Like, ugh. Like, I can't get behind it at all. But yeah, I thought ELP looked great. I thoroughly enjoy, like, the Bullet Club in Impact too, and I think he fits that vibe perfectly. The match was really good, man. I mean, the commentary did a great job of building Trey, you know, like throughout the match on commentary, and they really put him over, and him getting the win. I think they may have oversold it a little bit on commentary, because I was like, oh, I mean, the way they're just every time it's like, oh, Trey Miguel, like, just, you know, like the way they're just like, I don't know. The way they just gushed was like, okay, well, he's going to win. But it worked out. I thought it was pretty good. 4 solid beers for me. Just 4. Above average, but solid 4. Solid 4.
All right, that's pretty close. Like, dude, probably, I mean, if we're going to talk about, it's probably one of the better matches of the night. Not the best, but one of the better. It is one of the
better matches, yeah. So we had, first match was terrible. Second match was pretty good. So let's get to the third match here. Before we do, though, Mickie James did a promo in the back, and it's really good. It's not great, but it was really good. And the package the package for the Heath Angle thing, I just did not care about this at all. It just kind of seems like a really flimsy storyline at best. Like, the whole Rhino, like, joined Violent by Design, and is he going to be with his friend? Is he hypnotized by Violent by Design? It just felt like a bad WWE storyline. You know what I mean? It felt like a bad, hokey WWE type thing to do. And then, you know, okay, so the match happens. It's Violent by Design versus Heath and Rhino, but it's really just Violent by Design versus Heath, right? It's just it's pretty much like a handicap match from the whole start. And the whole match is literally just like him getting his ass beat and no one actually comes out at all. Until, like, they're both knocked down. Then Rhino all of a sudden gets some courage, and he comes down, and he gets a hot tag, gets some shine, and goes over. Like, how is this not awful booking? How does that not make Rhino look like an absolute asshole? Like, to me, like, that's the dumbest booking. Like, you just needed to see your buddy get beat up just enough so you could swoop in and get some shine and go over. Like, to me, that's a massive heel move. I thought it was bad, dumb, really not well booked at all, and honestly, the work wasn't great because it was just it was almost like a training session where 2 tag team guys just give the newbie as many bumps as he can take. Like, that's what it felt like, and it was just like, yeah. I gave it negative quarter of a beer, so like less than a dud. Like, it was like, I thought it's embarrassing, like, because the storyline was so bad. Like, if you showed this to somebody, they'd be like, why is this happening? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fucking bad too. I didn't go negative, but I went a dud. I definitely went a dud on this one. The story was bad, and someone like Heath, he left WWE to go to basically do some more bullshit right here. Like,
Yeah.
he could be doing so much better, and
Well,
it's
he got
not
fired.
really his fault. Well, he got fired, but I'm saying he could be doing a lot better, and it's not his fault. Impact is booking this bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
actually
that's
make
fair.
him and Rhino in a tag team match versus Diener and fucking Doring. Like, actually make him have a real tag team match, not this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like you said, make
Which
Rhino
probably
look
would've
like
been great.
making Rhino look like a cowardly, shitty heel asshole.
Yeah, it was bad. It
Wait
was
till
really
both
bad.
guys are down to come hit the gore.
Yeah.
Big old dud for me, and crazy to think that this is the weakest match on the card. When I saw the lineup, I would not think that this would be, just because, Rhino's not going to go out there and bullshit, but he did, but not really. He didn't go out there and bullshit the storyline. He went out there and bullshitted. He did his gore.
That's true. That's true. And you know what, guys? I'm going to be totally honest here. Right after this match, the rest of the show is pretty damn good. The rest of the show is pretty much fire, to be completely honest with you. Let's jump right into it, though. We got a recap of Gail Kim inducting Awesome Kong into the Impact Hall of Fame, and that was cool. A little recap of whatever else happened on the pre-show. And then we get Jordynne Grace as the Digital Media Championship, which is terrible idea and such a dumbass idea completely. Like, a Digital Media Championship just seems really bad for a company that's third place at best. You know what I mean? Like, you have way too many titles already. Like, a Digital Media
And
Championship.
it looks like the
idea.
AEW Championship, and she took some Shawn Michaels style photos with the title that Jesse called me. I'm just kidding. Jesse didn't call me about him, but I know that's his favorite, so I'm sure he's peeped them.
I'm sure he's peeped
Shout
them
out to
photos.
Jesse.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be something. Okay. Yeah, there's a promo, and then there's a promo in the back with them, with Ellering and Jordynne Grace, and then Moose and Exxon show up. I mean, Morrissey.
I thought it was Sitgo, but all right.
Yeah, Sitgo, that's fine. Either way, it was weak. Either way, it was not good. And then the match here is the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. I really enjoyed this match. I actually really enjoyed the concept. It made sense to me. I thought Sabin looked really good. Romero looked great. The big wind up into the eye poke was super funny to me. Madman Fulton is trash. He doesn't deserve to be on any show anywhere. He's just not good. I don't understand why he still gets booked, but whatever.
It's because he's tall and you can't teach that.
Yeah,
wrong guy. No, just kidding.
I don't know. I feel like and then when Rohit was out there, it was obvious that Fulton couldn't even perform basic high five properly, so that was weird. Tasha Steele is the first woman out before a few more. We got Ellering and then Savannah Evans. Swinger popped me, and it popped the crowd too. The OG TNA guy. Seeing Melina pop me for sure. The Demon was an amazing moment. I mean, I marked out on my couch for that. Like, I got up and I stood up. I saw the Demon and I was like, what are they doing? Is this a new character they're putting in? And then when I saw the actual Demon from WCW get up and with the Kiss makeup, I lost it. It totally popped me in the best way. Super cheesy nostalgia. And Cardona's out next. The dude Cardona is just really hot right now. He's just kind of killing it on the indie scene for sure. And they gave him hell of a shine. I mean, they put him in the final two against Moose. And once you got to the 1v1, it was short and sweet, but I thought the right guy went over, and I enjoyed the Gaga in the match. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought overall 4.5 beers for me. I really enjoyed this. Where were you at on the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match?
I did not go that high, but for a Rumble style multi-man match, it was pretty cool. And it actually, like you said, it made sense. It was more enjoyable.
I like the concept a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit less chaotic than a regular Royal Rumble, because the way it's kind of the way it's set up. And I didn't go quite that high. I only went 3 beers for it, but for a multi-man, I can never really rate them that high. I can usually only ever really go 3 or 4 at the most. No one did something in here that was God damn, I gotta go super high. But
I mean, it's been over 20 years since I've seen the Demon. You get the Demon in on the show, I'm down.
And that was actually
at least one full beer for that
himself, wasn't
yes,
it?
It was. Yes, it was the Demon. Yes.
I mean, that's pretty fucking sick. Moose, I said, I agree. Moose winning here was the right decision, but We'll get into that later.
I also love that Cardona is like the biggest heel in GCW, and he's like a babyface in Impact. I love that.
He's a babyface everywhere except for GCW because that crowd fucking hates him.
But he's so good in GCW. Like, I prefer him as a heel in GCW. Like,
he's announced as a special guest in Detroit, and he posted a tweet, and he was like, "Fuck, my agent called me, and I gotta go work Detroit, this B town."
Oh no! Oh, that's so good though. Oh, I love it. Let's keep it rolling here, though, man. The next match on the card, is a 3-way for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Before we get to the match, though, we did have a Rhino and Heath promo in the back, which was really stupid. And I guess now they're going to try to jump on this Uncle Rhino thing. I don't know if you saw that, but now there's a Pro Wrestling Tees Uncle Rhino, like T. And I think they're going to really try to push that as a thing. So they're going to make them a tag team comedy match. Yeah, I'm not into it at all. But I will say the package for the tag team title match, loved it. Super hyped for it. I was really into it. And the match here is the Bullet Club versus Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team Championships. I felt like there was a lot of stakes here because I felt like, it's pretty clear that the AEW and Impact relationship is kind of coming to an end. It's been in all the rumor mills, at least, although neither side has actually confirmed that. But that is kind of what the IWC is talking about. Well, so to me, it already put me on edge. Like, there's no way. I mean, the Good Brothers are going to drop the titles to either the Bullet Club or Finn Juice or whatever. Like, that's the way this thing worked. And I adore Finn Juice. I feel like Bay sold like a madman. I like the sneaked in tags from team to team too. I like the format of this match. That way there's never more than 2 guys in the ring. It never gets too cluttered. And that way you can always go into your massive spot if you need to. Man, I think Juice is going to be a massive single star someday too, man. I just think the way he just, like, it reminds me very much of Jericho, like early Jericho. Like, he's so good, but he just, like, his actual just verbiage in the ring during the match is just so funny and good and entertaining and on point. Bay, the way he moves, like, he's not like a normal cruiserweight guy. Like, people make him out to be more of like a high flyer, and that's not who he is. Like, I honestly think that Chris Bay is more like a Shawn Michaels or an Adam Cole than he is like a high flyer, like a Ricochet. You know what I mean? Like, he can do some of those moves too, but he really shines doing the more technical stuff that may end with a drop kick or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's a more old soul, but he just works it really well. Some of the way he begs off, some of the way he takes bumps too and feeds back, like little technical things that I noticed in this match specifically totally reminded me of Shawn in the best way. And yeah, man, I loved it. I loved the finish too. The sequence was super cool. The Good Brothers kind of like pulling a brother and going over after stealing somebody else's finish sequence is perfect. I loved it. I gave it 4.5 beers. I was really into it. What'd you think about this 3-way tag match?
The one thing that I'm gonna just disagree, because I literally agree with almost everything you said except for the finish. That's what took it down for me. I only went 3.75, and it would have been higher. I just didn't like that finish. I was ready for Finn Juice to get the fucking victory right there.
Yeah, but I think I like the swerve because I think we were all expecting the Good Brothers to lose, because I feel like, oh well, they're in AEW now. They signed a 1-year deal. Your year's up. They're gonna drop the titles and they're being AEW. But that's not what happened. So does that mean we're not gonna see the Good Brothers in AEW?
I think they were gonna go to AEW because at this point, I think when I watched this match, I'd already like figured out that the relationship was up. So I was just like, now they're here in Impact because they signed a pretty long deal. I'm pretty sure at one point when they first got on there. So I just wasn't a fan of the finish. But dude, just like you said, dude, the chemistry between Juice Robinson and Chris Bay, like some of their sequences was sick as shit in the match.
So
like
good, yeah.
They are those are the 2 stars like of this match.
Next level,
even though
yeah.
Technically Good Bros and all those are bigger international stars, but I think like just overall pure wrestlers and workers, these are the 2 dudes.
Right.
And
no,
like how
totally
they look, and they worked a good story. They worked over Bay's arm the entire match to try to like, dude, everything was great about this. That's why I wanted I would have liked to seen Bullet Club steal the victory, if anything, not the Good Brothers. I don't know. The Good Brothers were in the match, but I was more focused on that story. And I just feel like they They had the shine.
That's fair.
They had the spotlight, and I feel like one of them should have took home the title, not the Good Bros. They've had it for a while, and the Good Brothers, I mean, if I really think about it, it makes sense. I was gonna say Ring of Honor. Goddamn, rest in peace. But Impact wants to keep the really true international top star guys with their title, face of the company. I get it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's the right call, to be completely honest. Let's keep it rolling here though. We got a credible promo by Christian in the back. I mean, really good. Like that's like damn. Like if you get a chance to just watch this clip on YouTube, go watch Christian's promo from Bound for Glory 2021. It was that good. It really was. It was really good, really well done. And then we get a package for Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo. Okay, so to be honest, I went into this match with very, very, very low expectations, to the point where I really wanted to just not even just kind of fast forward it, just because the past few matches I've seen with Mickie James have been less than stellar, to say the least. And Deonna Purrazzo has kind of been hit or miss. I mean, she's great. And she hits a lot more than she misses. I shouldn't have said that. It's not so much hit or miss. She's easily the best part of the women's division in Impact. But yes, I still was a little worried that she might not be able to really kind of, carry Mickie. Unfortunately, that's how I felt. And it kind of started as a brawl, and they're kind of making it more personal. And it wasn't as technical of a match to start out, which is kind of generally what you see. Normally in more main event or title matches, you'll see the technical wrestling happen and then it forms into a brawl. This one kind of went the other way around. It was it started as a brawl, but then it kind of turned into a wrestling match. I mean, it was a really good story. The ring psychology was there for sure. The selling by both of them were phenomenal. Mickie looked insanely good. I mean, no rust. She did not miss a beat. She never looked like she was blown up. Dude, she held it together so well. Deonna is one of the best women's wrestlers on the face of the planet right now, for sure. It was significantly better than I expected it to be. Great, great false finishes. I mean, some of the most incredible false finishes that I've seen this year, period. Not just for a women's match. The crowd, they actually got the crowd hype for this. The crowd was legitimately rumbling at this point. And then after all of that, the match was forever long, but I never lost my interest. And then after all of that, they put the belt on Mickie James. Wow, dude. This might be at least women's match of the year, but I'd also put it in for candidate of match of the year on pay-per-view. I'm not, no lie. I loved this match. 5 3/4 beers from me. It just was, it lagged in a couple of spots and felt a little too long, but almost a 6-pack from me. Damn good. I really, really enjoyed it. How did you feel about Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo here?
Literally, you hit all the high points, and the only thing that I didn't like about this is that Mickie James is supposed to be the baby face, and then she started off the match with the sneak attack bullshit.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying it was bullshit, but she started with the sneak attack. She's supposed to be the baby face. I understand the desperation to want to win the title or whatever, but that's the only thing that I had a problem with, kind of how she initiated it. But the way they worked it was fantastic. It was did Mickie James blow her load too early while beating the fuck out of her on the outside, and then she got taken advantage of once the bell rang and got to the inside. And like you said, lots of technical wrestling. Is he about to Daniel is about to match me now. We're both wearing the exact same hat officially. Shawn Michaels, WWF. That's right. We're HBK fans out here. But dude, everything about this match, dude, like I said, great story. Did Mickie fuck it up too early, and then now she's getting her ass whooped in the ring because Deonna Purrazzo is just so fucking good and has control. And dude, I wasn't a fan of they didn't really need the chair part at the end. That's another thing that kind of just.
I didn't mind the chair part. I don't know. I thought it was, at that point the match had been going on forever. They're both desperate. I feel like the chair made sense because they had such massive false finishes from both sides.
And the fact that Deonna Purrazzo didn't retain kind of just. It's cool seeing Mickie James. I didn't expect that because I just feel Deonna, they got to keep building her up. She beat the legend Mickie James, but she didn't. But now it gives her a chance to take the title back. Right. So initially I was pissed, but I was like, I see the bigger picture, but I went 5 beers. Only thing that the way it started is what took it away a little bit from me, and those my few little nitpicks. But besides that, I agree with everything you said. Dude, Deonna Purrazzo's little Pope type gimmick gear she had going on was also sick.
Yeah.
And I just thinking every time they say hardcore country, I laugh till this day.
Oh, it's
just
terrible.
Fucking hilarious to me. She's hardcore country, and I'm like, so is she like? Is that like Cactus Jack on a farm, or is it like heavy metal Leonard Skinner or something? You know, like I'm trying to figure out what hardcore country means.
Well, she was hardcore something in the early 2000s, but that's neither here nor there.
I just remember a little bit of that at WrestleMania. They still bleep out of it, but dude, yeah, 5 beers, fantastic. Like you said, one of the best matches. Period. Definitely one of the best women's matches I've seen all year.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, it's up for
an pay-per-view matches. Like you said, we don't give very many 5 and 6ers, and this is up there.
I fully agree.
Right up there. Maybe not right up there, but right there at the top.
Yep. And so then they had an announcement for Hard to Kill, which is going to be in January. We're definitely going to be covering that for sure. Same opening package they showed for Alexander and Christian before they played it again. But let's get right into it, man. It's Josh Alexander versus Christian Cage for the Impact World Championship. The crowd is hype, which is very nice. The match was really good, man. Honestly, it had a lot to follow from that women's match, and that kind of hurt it in the beginning because I was like still coming down from it. And there was definitely some clunk in there, but overall, they figured it out and settled into a really solid tempo. There are also some really awesome false finishes in there, some nice submission spots that like kind of also served as false finishes. Great match, man. I can't rate it higher than the women's match. I can't, honestly. But it was strong for sure. Great moment for Alexander. Great moment for his family, for his kid. That's always cool to see. I think I might flip-flop you here because I was a straight 5 beers on this one. There were a couple moments where it did lag. It did get clunky. There were a couple missed spots. When you have a missed spot, I mean, come on, you can't give it a 6-pack. So 5 beers for me. Dude, still 5 beers. It's a damn great match. I mean, overall, this show has been absolutely phenomenal. I think we had, maybe 3 bad matches. Really just 2, but I will say the 2 bad matches were absolute drizzling shits bad. But the rest of it was really good, man. What'd you think about this main event? What's your beer rating on that?
Okay, so like you said, the match itself was fucking fantastic. Their chemistry was top notch. So many great counters, reversals, and the ending sequence with the fucking ankle lock and stomping on his head, like standing up, like with the extra pressure, like
yeah,
that just made it just made so much extra, like so sick. But if we're just gonna rate this match itself and not basically the post match thing, I gave it 4.75 beers.
Okay.
Almost a 5er, like really fucking good. Like you said, that like the beginning of it was a little slow, a few stutter steps, and that other match was just so sick. It's like, I agree with you. I was just like, fuck, they need to get it into gear. They did get it into gear. And that big knee off the top, like the knee off the top, and they referenced Dick Murdoch and shit. That I think that was like the turning point where the shit started to really get going. And what did I see right here? Sorry, I have a note that oh yeah, I love the little like the kill, like dude, just so many sick different like sequences and combos in this match between both of these guys. But the end, like I said, if I'm gonna rate just the match not that in there, I'll give it 4.75. But if you include the ending, it takes it all the way down to 3.5 because it ruined what potentially was like an ending to a really good pay-per-view. But then I'll let you let the fans know what happened next if they don't already know what happened next.
Wait, what happened next? Did I miss something?
You know exactly. You didn't watch the end of this? That fucking ruined it?
No, what happened?
Moose came out immediately and cashed his fucking shot in from winning the gauntlet and speared him and won the title.
I did not know that.
Like immediately, as he finished celebrating, Moose came down there and cashed in his call your shot and speared him and won the title immediately. So it really fucking.
I love that even more. That almost makes me want to give it 6 beers. I got to be totally honest. Oh, I love that. Yeah, because I feel like Josh Alexander is your premier babyface. Like, I mean, Christian dropped the title because Christian is in AEW. Like, he's not. Oh yeah, that's another reason why I knew that the partnership was really officially over is because he dropped it. He's back full time. Yeah, but see, I feel like they never really wrote the Good Brothers off of Dynamite. You know what I mean? And it's like, what's happening there? Like,
I don't know. They got too many dangly earrings and it dangled them all the way back to Impact. I don't know.
That is true. They can just do something in BTE and just cover it up that way. That's kind of how they work. But
yeah.
Damn, I can't believe I missed that. I can't believe I missed Moose. I'll have to go back. I mean, I bought it on Fight TV, so I'll go back and watch it. I love that, actually. I love that. I love that kind of thing. But
yeah, you thought it was over, and I thought it was over too, and then old Moose came out, cashed in.
Wow.
As we previously stated, he won earlier in the night in the Call Your Shot 20-man, cashed it in and won the title. So I guess now Josh Alexander's going to feud with Moose.
I love it. Something very similar happened at WrestleMania 31 when Seth Rollins came down there and beat Roman Reigns right as he won the title.
Something very similar happened at WrestleMania, the one outdoors at Caesar Palace 9.
Yeah.
When fucking Hulk Hogan came down and did the same thing. He just came and fucking leg dropped Yokozuna and took that fucking title.
Well, I loved it at 31, so I probably would have loved this too. But
speaking of Seth Rollins, and most of us love Moose more than we love Hulk Hogan. So I'll just say that.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. Moose is I'm excited to see where that goes. I mean, honestly, the Josh Alexander Moose program that we're about to get is going to be fire. And I guarantee
Moose is an official real Impact World Champion, not a TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Right.
He was rating as the champion and then got recognized, but now he's the real deal Holyfield.
The real deal Holyfield. All right. I love that. What do we have in this week in AEW coming up? Did we do our predictions from last week?
The predictions from last week. So what were the matches again? Refresh me. Bobby Fish. No, that was Dynamite. Fuck, what was Rampage last week?
I honestly, dude, I have been so caught up with watching these shows, and just working that I'm behind like almost 2 weeks on Rampage and Dynamite.
Okay, here we go. So last week we had Will Hobbs versus Orange Cassidy.
Yep, and you and Alex picked Hobbs,
and Cassidy won. Yep. So you basically automatically win because I think we all guessed the same on all the other ones, right?
Yeah, we did.
So, so this week's AEW Picks winner is Daniel, Mr. Knowitall.
Hey now. I'm happy to be here. I just want to thank my fans. Thank God. And, yeah.
All right. And so for old AEW Rampage, the 3 matches that we got on the docket are Dr. Britt Baker versus Abaddon in a non-title match.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Abaddon because it's Halloween, a non-title match, and it doesn't really hurt Dr. Britt Baker to lose in a non-title match, and they announced no disqualification.
If it's no disqualification, there's no way.
You're going Britt?
Yep.
All right. The next match on the docket is Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston in the World Title Eliminator Tournament.
Brian. For sure.
I'm also going the American Dragon because it's obvious they're setting up for a Mox Bryan final at the Full Gear. It's obvious, and I'd rather see anybody but Mox, but Bryan will help carry him to a great match. You know he will.
Yeah, can we just get rid of Mox now? Can he just go to be GCW all the time? I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, go to GCW, go back to WWE. We're tired of you. Go back.
I never liked you in the first place, to be honest.
Return of Dean Ambrose joining the Bloodline. That could actually be cool.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh no, you know what? He comes back to get with Seth Rollins to take on the Bloodline, right? And then what happens is that Paul Heyman takes the Usos and Brock Lesnar comes back heel and he's like, you know what? Now we're a family. And then Roman Reigns turns it into this babyface and it's the Shield versus Brock Lesnar and the Usos at WrestleMania 27. Like 2027. WrestleMania 2027.
Oh, okay. I was like, 27 happened like 10 years ago almost.
Don't sass me. You know what I meant. I don't like that town with you.
Okay. And all right, the only other match on the docket for that show is the rubber match, part 3, Matt Sydal versus Dante Martin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was going to be the Sydal brothers versus Leo Rush and Dante Martin, but like something happened to one of the Seidel, the other Seidel, the one that we could give a fuck about.
Mhm.
And he can't wrestle, so now it's just a singles match, and it's the rubber match, the part tree.
Okay. I'm gonna say Dante just because I don't care, and I think that Leo's
I'm saying
probably
Dante too because it makes sense with the story. He's the rising baby face they're trying to build up.
I think like Leo's gonna help him win the match without Dante noticing. So like that way he stays the baby face, but Leo's the heel. That'll be my prediction.
They're gonna have like a little Leo be like the heel manager, but he's the baby face that doesn't want to turn.
Yes,
that's good shit. That's good shit. I like it. All right, yeah.
I like it too.
So so obviously our differential pick will be on the Abaddon versus Dr. Britt Baker because I'm gonna go strong for Abaddon for Halloween. I'm gonna ride it out for. And see if I can take the title back.
I wish you would.
I'm not gonna ride it out like that. Not like that.
My goodness. I will say, okay, so if you had to pick one show, though, is it Bound for Glory or is it Halloween Havoc? Because both were actually surprisingly pretty decent.
It's tough, dude.
It's tough. Tough call.
But I'm going to go, for overall wrestling quality, I'm going to have to go Bound for Glory.
Yep, I agree. It's very close.
Because there's only one Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, DDP versus Eddie was really good. Outsiders versus Harlem Heat was entertaining. Yeah, but no, it's got to be Bound for Glory, man.
Good,
Those matches
like,
are insane.
You've seen Eddie Guerrero. We know Eddie Guerrero and DDP can do way better than that. So
that's absolutely true. Next week is going to be a return to the Attitude Era as well, except this time 5 years later, and it's in WWF side. It's WWF Survivor Series 2001. That's right, boys and girls. It's Survivor Series season. Yeah, we're getting right into it, man. It's Survivor Series 2001 versus TNA Genesis 2006. I mean, 2006 is one of TNA's best years, at least on their roster. Maybe not in creative, but some of the matches were great. Creative was not great, but
creative was never great in the TNA era, to be honest. There was,
I mean,
creative.
I think like some of that stuff was pretty decent. Like around like 09, I'd say 09 to 2010 was pretty decent.
Okay, well, is that? Yeah, I guess so. But I'm talking like
Jay Lethal doing the Ric Flair thing, like the original run of Fortune, like that was pretty solid. Like, yeah, not too bad. And then 2 weeks from now, we're doing NXT Takeover Toronto 2016. It's a little 5-year throwback there. R.I.P. to takeovers, by the way. R.I.P. NXT's dead. They should just call it something else.
Braun Breaker T.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Since you brought it up, I gotta say this, guys. NXT sucks now too. They finally did it. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I watched Halloween Havoc, and we purposely didn't cover it on the show because it was just not fun to talk about. Like the women's ladder match was great. Braun Breaker and all this, like, okay, first of all, the fact that I have to say Braun Breaker hurts my like integrity and hurts my soul.
He's just fucking Rick Steiner. He's Rick Steiner's son. He could just be Rex Steiner.
Also, part two. This is me just being very candid, okay? I have never liked the Steiners, either one of them, for any reason. I don't find value in this guy. I don't find value in this kid. Like, I don't like this powerhouse. I don't like powerhouse wrestlers. He talks just like Scott, and I hate it. And everybody else loves it, and I hate it. I like nothing about NXT is enjoyable to me anymore. I'm really bummed about it, but I will be happy to revisit 2016. To me, 5 years ago was pretty much the peak for NXT, at least. Like 2016 was, they were so good then.
Think about this. NXT used to be like the reason we would watch WWE, the reason we would get excited. We're like, dude, all right, at least there's a takeover coming. There's a good episode of NXT. But now NXT is like the same shit as Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. You're absolutely right. It's not good at all.
Like WWE, just like you said earlier, they go to peaks and valleys, and you know, people online, the wrestling community, they like to be very tribal, very like loyal to one brand. Like this brand's the best, but everybody goes through, like, WWE has been through many times where it's been good, shitty, good, shitty. It's just, that's what happens. It's not like we're anti WWE. It's just they're doing like shit right now, and we're gonna call them out if they're doing shitty.
Yeah,
That's how it is.
It's a 5 to 10 year cycle. That's the way it's always been. I mean,
exactly. And AEW, even though we like them, even when they do something shitty, we call it out.
Yeah, totally. We absolutely do. We're very fair on this show. I did enjoy covering the 96 Halloween Havoc though. And actually the pay-per-view after it is World War III 96. And that's the other pay-per-view that we're going to be covering in 2 weeks, going up against that NXT takeover from Toronto in 2016. So that's going to be a killer show. I'm really excited about what we have on the docket. The following week is going to be an AEW show. And then we're gonna see what the rest of November looks like. We'll see what your Thanksgiving looks like from us. But man, I'm hyped. I felt like today's show was really good. I feel like we've got a lot of really good stuff in the can. Last week's show was good. We were on the up and up. I know you guys have been following us on the TikToks. We like doing them. I noticed that our Twitter has been getting some more followers. Mr. Wex breaking the Lawson is now pretty much running most of the social media, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the engagement. Happy to have you guys involved in the polls. You can always find me at Daniel Daybreak. You can find the show at KayfabeCom, except for on TikTok, and it's at KayfabeCom Pod. That is where Wex fucked it up. But you know what? He's making up for it. He's making up for it by just like pushing out a lot of content. I'm trying to be on the TikToks as well, making them for you. Yeah, man, you can always find me at Daniel Daybreak pretty much everywhere. Wex, give them the script, baby. Where can they find you?
You can find your boy Wex at Wex Breaking the Lawson on pretty much every social media platform there is. Even though I don't really fuck with Facebook too hard like that. But, I'll be on everything else. Twitter, Instagram, all that bullshit. TikTok, yeah. And TikTok, speaking of that, I'm probably going to do some more weekly engagement on there. Some more maybe like NXT recap videos with Dynamite. Because, we talk more Rampage on here, a little bit of Dynamite. But, sometimes there's some sick matches. And I might want to, even though we have our match of the week for our pay-per-views, maybe I might choose a Dynamite match of the week. And maybe you can tell me what your Dynamite match of the week is. Or you can tell me why you think Dynamite sucks or whatever. Whatever you want to do. Just tell me because I want some engagement from you.
I love it. I love it, man. We're so hyped. We're happy to be here this week. We'll see you guys next week. We're out. Peace.
Peace.